Hey Suburban Psychics, welcome back. This week's question is from Julie. And Julie wrote, my question for the Oracle is constantly brought up by myself and my girlfriends. She says, I'd like to start changing old habits and patterns, particularly with relationships and dating the same kind of men. Suburban Psychic, how do I go about changing my old patterns? Well, this is a great question, and clearly you're not alone because this constantly comes up with you and your girlfriends. And I'd hazard a guess that it comes up with blokes as well when they get together and have a chat about women and their woman troubles. So this is a universal question, and I love that you're asking it because you're getting ready to get beneath your unconscious habits and patterns, and you're making them conscious. You're activating your awareness and you're expanding your consciousness. So the very first oracle that came to me came after I got the question, and it didn't relate to anything here because, hey, we're Suburban Psychics. We're connected, and the information can and will come from anywhere. So straight away, I knew this was an oracle for this question because it just kept pulling my mind back. But it was a blog post that I'd read previously by Jonathan Fields, and he talked about the title of the blog post was Safety or the Muse, but he was talking about Mumford and Sons and how they had changed their style. So they were going out into the world looking a certain way, sounding a certain way. They then retreated, took some time out, got back together, and decided they'd actually take their creative work in a different direction. And I wrote down two particular quotes from his blog post. He said that a lot of creative people are afraid to try something new because you're afraid, like you've created a following or people who like the work that you've done, and he says you're afraid they'll abandon you if you shift gears. And then further on in the blog post itself, that was like in the newsletter trailer, in the blog post itself, he says, they may go away, all the fans, all the people you've drawn to you by being who you are, they may go away taking the life you've built with them. And I think it's very much the same with dating, especially when, like you say here, that you have old habits and patterns and dating the same kind of men. So that pattern that was set in place, and no doubt it happened in childhood, set up a dynamic where you have a hope and an expectation for a happy future, a happy outcome. What you're doing is you're building that onto something that's broken. So especially if it's a pattern, oh my God, especially if it's a pattern. So something occurred in childhood, you then try to, when something similar happens again, and you go, oh wow, this is similar. Maybe I can fix this one the way I couldn't fix the first one. And that's where you get into a really sticky situation because you're trying to fix something that starts out broken. You wouldn't be triggered by these guys, the same guys over and over, unless they were damaged in exactly the right way. And I say damaged, tongue in cheek. But they have to have certain attributes that are going to trigger you. And you're then going to be trying to repair something in the present day that actually happened a long time ago with somebody else. And it may not be this person's job to change just to suit you, to repair something that happened when you were 5 years old or 6 years old. But we keep trying to do this. So that's the first thing I want you to realize is like Mumford and Sons, you've been showing up a certain way and attracting a certain fan base, attracting a certain kind of guy, and you're attracted to him based on certain triggers that are showing up. I want you to think about what would it look and feel like if you did what they did. You showed up in a different way, or you responded to different fans. So if you're always going out to the same kind of places, you're always attracted to the same kind of guys, be in the moment, have that amazing awareness that you're beginning to develop and go, oh, I'm attracted to this person, but in my gut and in my heart, I've got a little alarm bell going off, so I'm going to slow it on down. I'm going to take it steady and I'm not going to rush in, because I think we're eager to rush in. We overcommit to people too soon that we hardly know, and it's because we're desperately trying to find that beautiful connection that we're yearning for. And especially if we're trying to repair something through repeating a pattern, there's a big push from within to get it right, and to plow ahead even though it doesn't feel right, it feels wrong. I want you to just now go, this feels wrong, cut it out and just stop it, and give somebody else a try, give something else a go. Be prepared to shift, and an enormous amount of fear will come up when you do that, because it's kind of like that awful saying, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Well, let's get rid of the devils. Let's get rid of the devils. The devil you know, there's comfort there, but gee whiz, at what price? At what price is that comfort coming? So face the fear of letting go. Face the fear of, well, you know, if this guy's attracted to me and nobody else is, and I don't respond to him, then there's nothing left for me. You know, all of these false beliefs that are so sewn in to this dynamic for you, this old habit, this pattern. It's really time to rip those things apart and move on. So that's your first answer. That's your first oracle. Let's pick a couple more. Just looking here. Nothing's really leaping out at me. All right. I don't know how this is going to relate. Doesn't seem like a topic related, but we'll give that a go. The Charge by Brendan Burchard. And well, again, we've had this one before, but I am being drawn to Wisdom, The Wisdom of Ideas by Andrew Zuckerman. So let's see what these have got for Julie. So The Charge by Brendan Burchard, and he's got a great presence online, and this is all about activating the 10 human drives that make you feel alive. And he's got a really upbeat, high energy presence. I think if you see anything from him online, you'd really enjoy it. So I've just gone intuitively in here, and oh, page 141, I've been drawn straight to the bottom, and this is great. It says the most difficult drive to tackle is the drive for heightened consciousness. I'm shocked and stunned how freaking perfect some of these things come out to be. Of course, I trust the information, but I'm still so delighted when it delivers. At our deepest core and in our loftiest ambitions, we desire to transcend ourselves and connect with something greater. And isn't that exactly what you're trying to do, Julie? We want to experience a deeper sense of knowing about our reality and relationships with others, the universe, and perhaps God. This drive makes us seekers of meaning, self-actualization, and spirituality or connection with oneness. It also makes us weird, often seeking meaning in inanimate objects or starting wars to defend something we've never seen or been able to explain fully. How do we tap into this drive? I'm just going to flip over the page here. That makes us so uniquely human. And then he goes on to talk about what's coming up in the next chapter. And he's got a great point here. He says, can you imagine not activating one of these drives well in your life? And I agree. This drive for heightened consciousness that you're actually being pushed by, being driven by at the moment, Julie. Oh, man, how would your life be if you weren't activated that way? You'd just be stuck and confused. So you're being encouraged through this oracle to continue attempting to transcend yourself and connect with something greater. You say you keep old habits and patterns and dating the same kind of men, and I figure that's not really working out for you. We wouldn't be asking the question. You want to transcend what's currently going on in your life, and you want something greater and more meaningful. And it does mean you have to face the fear of letting go of the shitty thing you've got hold of in your hand, and be prepared to let that fly away and to have nothing for a while. But I can assure you that nothing won't last. You know, nature abhors a vacuum. So that vacuum's going to fill up with something, but you've just got to trust and be courageous about letting go of the thing that's really not fulfilling you properly and giving you everything that you so deserve. The next one, last one, Wisdom, The Wisdom of Ideas by Andrew Zuckerman. And there's a great big coffee table version. This is a cute little one. And he approached all of these magnificent, creative people and interviewed them on the topic of ideas. And this came up for us previously. I think it was a French guy, an artist. Something came up for us previously in this one. So I'm just going to flip through and see where we're drawn to. Here we go. Page 47. It's a lady. If we go to the page before, we'll find her name. It's Jeannie Moreau. Life feeds art and art feeds life. Let's see what Jeannie's got to say to Julie. Okay, we'll go straight to the beginning. There's no healthy relationship between life and art. There is no relationship. It's the same energy. Life feeds art and art feeds life. I was born that way. That was always my desire and what I fought for against any obstacle. And I became what I wanted to become. So it's a way of life. Whatever I do, I feed myself. With any event, any painting, any relationship with people. And being an actress is so rich because I know more and more about what human beings are about. Lots of people think that you are your own instrument, and it's true. And you play with just your own chords. After a while, what stays the same is your body and your face. But at one point, there is a sort of intuition that makes you somebody else. And you give birth to people you wouldn't have met otherwise. It's a discovery. It's a very special exercise. I feel like what this is saying for you, Julie, is the more you focus on your own instrument, you, who you are, what your boundaries are, what your hopes and dreams are, the more you focus on your intuition, that when you meet someone who triggers an old pattern in you, that you get faster and faster at recognizing it. I think some of these things are so deep from childhood, they may always trigger us. They may be our kryptonite for the rest of our lives. So what? You don't have to pick the kryptonite up and hold it every time you see a piece. Rightio? You don't. You can put the kryptonite down. Move on. And I think what she's saying here so beautifully is, as you focus on yourself, as you focus on your own intuition about what feels right for you and what doesn't feel right for you, and you stay strong and you honor that, you as a person will change. And the kind of people that are being attracted to you in order to trigger those old patterns will drift off. They will cease to be. And there'll always be, I think, one or two popping up, because like I said, I do think it can be a little bit of our kryptonite that might be with us for the rest of our lives. But over time, it absolutely lessens. I've dealt with a pattern like this in my own life with relationships, and it's a case of when you're really honoring yourself, you see what's coming up in the moment, and it's like red flag, warning, warning, and you respectfully back away. You say to yourself, I'm no longer going to engage with this pattern anymore. I'm done with it. And rather than even then dwelling on it, it's just a statement. Okay, I'm not going to engage with this. Immediately switch gears to, and I am looking for this, and I do want to engage with that. I want a man who's kind. I want a man who's funny and creative. Whatever it is on your list that you want, I do recommend a book for you. Barbara DeAngelis wrote a great book donkeys years ago called Are You the One for Me? And one of the, Americans love their lists. So it's a great book about the 10 things of blah and the 15 things of such and such. But she does have a great exercise in there where you write out a list of what you're looking for. No preconceptions, no holding back. That's what I want. And what that list does is it doesn't make you rigid and inflexible, but it does remind you of what's important to you, where your non-negotiable areas are, and it's like that anchor where someone's coming into your space and he's triggering you, you're attracted to him, but maybe he's a little bit of a shit, and you think, oh, this is the pattern. I don't want this. I want to be attracted to a man who's kind. I want to be attracted to a man who's devoted to me and committed to me. I want to be attracted to a man who inspires me. Okay? Start to have a few of those little new triggers for yourself that you can immediately switch gears to, and be gentle and just allow the past to stay in the past and to go away and stop connecting in the present with the present. Well, this has been great. I really like these answers, and I hope a lot of other people are going to get something out of them too. I think they will, because this is a universal question, and I'm sure it's going to come up again in the future. Remember that you're connected, and I'm just going to make a note of a couple of these things here for Julie, because I will blog this afterwards, and I'll put details down about the books and, of course, about Jonathan Field's blog. That was the very first oracle that came, and that you are connected. So, like I said, the very first oracle that came to mind wasn't even part of my little stage here, my little office of things. We're connected, and life is giving us information and answers at all times from all kinds of places. So keep the questions great. Ask great questions. Focus your thoughts, because they do have the power, those questions, to move you forward or to keep you stuck. So, my little suburban psychics, what's your question?